I'd spoken about Acererak or Acererak or Acererak or whatever the fuck his name is in a short before, talking about the fact that actually he goes infinite with a surprisingly large number of things, from Omniscience to Aluren, Rooftop Storm, and other such stuff. And I thought this might show up in the Fringe, but I wasn't sure if it'd be real. Turns out it is real, it is showing up in the Fringe, but the real Fringe, that's not very clear. It's showing up in Aluren in Legacy. There's a 5.0 list by MTG user Otaba that I have modified for this video, and there's also a Barg or Sultai Aluren list by Mario Irilik that came forth at the end of July with 2 copies of Acererak in the main, whilst the 5.0 had one on the side for the Living Wish package. Mario Irilik came forth at a small German tournament. That's not a joke, it actually was a German tournament when I gave it a Google. I have no idea if it was small. I'm just copying Saffron Olive's like nomenclature. Is that the term? To be honest, I don't even know if that's the term even being used correctly, and that's probably not how you pronounce it either. And now I've just Googled it, and we're just floating in the abstract 3 layers deep, not even talking about Acererak anymore, which I also can't pronounce. Fucking hell, Magic is hard. So this is the deck. This is Acererak, or Acererak Aluren, and it is a 4 or 5 colour deck. In this case, we're playing Yorion, we've got a Pokemon. The game plan of Aluren typically is to use Aluren, surprisingly, to combo kill your opponent. Now, the default normal line for this is you go Recruiter for free off of Aluren, and then Recruiter goes and finds us another Recruiter, another one. Get 3 or 4 of them into play, so you're a little bit more resilient to removal. You then grab Arctic Merfolk, my favourite flavour of ice cream, which then as a kicker cost, so part of casting it puts a Recruiter of the Guard back into your hand, so you've now got a Recruiter in your hand. You cast the Recruiter again for free with Aluren, and you grab a Cavern Harpy. You cast the Cavern Harpy, put the Arctic Merfolk back in your hand, and then you can pay 1 life to put Cavern Harpy also back in your hand. You use the Merfolk to put the Recruiter back into hand again, then use the Recruiter to go and get, used to be some sort of Strix, it's now a card from Commander Legends, it's Ukima Stalking Shadow. And then what you do is using Ukima plus Cavern Harpy ETBs, putting Ukima back in hand, you put Cavern Harpy back into hand with its own ability over and over and over, paying 1 life each time, but gaining 2 life off of Ukima's Leave the Battlefield trigger. So when she leaves the battlefield, you do 2 damage to an opponent or target player, and you gain 2 life, where X is its power, in this case 2. And that's the default combo. That's the way you normally get people, or traditionally get people. I say traditionally, Ukima only replaced Angry Strix, Shitbag Strix. I'll put it on screen now. I can't remember the fucking name of it. Acererak does the similar thing, but with none of the fucking about. It can't be tutored for, but if you go Aluren into Acererak, he enters the battlefield, he triggers Adventure, and then bounces back to your hand if you haven't completed the Tomb of Annihilation. And what you do is you just complete the Tales of the Lost Mines of Phandelver over and over again, which will ping your opponent for 1 and gain you 1 life. It will draw you a card each time as well you complete it, but you'll draw 20 cards and kill your opponent on 20 lives. You can't kill someone on infinite life, but you can dome someone on anyone who's got lower life totals than what your current library is. Now, the list that I grabbed originally was just playing Acererak in the sideboard and a copy of Living Wish to go grab it. I decided for the sake of this video to add 2 to the main deck. I also added a Green Sun Zenith because I saw 1 drops, 2 drops, and 3 drops, including Uro, and I was like, we got to play at least 1 copy of Green Suns. And then other than that, the deck is just cantrips, 3 Plow, 3 Prismatic Ending, Aluren for the combo, Force of Will, of course. Teferi to stop your opponent interacting with your combo, Ice Coat, Fang Coatls to draw cards and progress your game plan, Living Wish to go grab either Acererak for the combo or to grab an Uro Knight of Autumn or Meddling Mage depending on the situation, and then we've got cantrips in Brainstorm, Ponder, and Abundant Growth. The reason Abundant Growth is in the deck is because it's like a poor man's Astrolabe, so Growth plus Coatl makes our Yorion a card advantage engine in the late game. And that's it, my friends. That's the fucking deck. There's not much more to say. That's actually a lot to say. This deck has a lot of moving parts. It's very complicated. Hopefully the gameplay will illustrate some of that for you. If you enjoy this video, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe as well. And this video is brought to you by channelfireball.com. So if you're looking to check out Channel Fireball, pick up some sealed product, or use the marketplace to buy some singles, use the code Kenobi at checkout to help support the channel and let them know that I sent you. With that out of the way, let's play some fucking Magic.
Game!
We have won the die roll. We're going to reveal our Pokemon. My opening hand has a Brainstorm, a Manadork, and a Recruiter. I can't lose. If you can hear the 3D printer in the background, I'm sorry. You're just going to have to put up with it and suck it because I'm an entrepreneur now. I'm just printing my own Warhammer model. I'm not selling them. I don't need to sell them. I'm no peasant. We abundant growth our own forest. We drew another land, which isn't what we wanted, but it's fine. Our opponent ponders whether they shuffled or not, I don't know, and I'm not going to look. We drew another land because I love lands. Why has no one done one of those really cringy t-shirts like of I love lamp from Anchorman, but changed lamp to land? If my energy levels seem low, it's because my throat is incredibly sore, and I shouldn't really be recording anything. But if I don't make any content this week, because I had some time off last week, YouTube will forget about me, and I will cease to exist. I will literally die. Our opponent's got a wild coatl in the bag, surely. Like, look at this mana, there's no way. We're going to crack this Misty because we need to thin out our deck. We've got fetches to play with our Brainstorm, so we're not exactly wasting opportunities here. I'm going to grab an Underground Sea. The deck's confusing that I don't really understand what I should be grabbing, honestly. I'm going to Abundant Growth my Underground Seed, draw a card. Probably should have done it after the Brainstorm so we can ensure we didn't draw more fucking lands. Going to play this Flooded Strand, and then I'm going to pass the turn to our opponent. I will be brainstorming probably on their turn and cracking my fetch just to transform some of this stuff into other things, but I want to get as much information before I do so. There's the coatl we expected. Catacombs from our opponent. They slap us with their Sky Snake, which... Is that an innuendo? Does Sky Snake sound like I'm talking about Willie's Brainstormerino? We actually find gas, so we can put some of this crap back. Oh, that was a pretty good find. And we're going to crack this Flooded Strand to shuffle those lands away. Brainstorm's dumb. Now, we have no way to protect our Aluren, and they have 7 cards in hand, so I don't really fancy just throwing the Aluren into it. We're going to play a Misty and just cast an Uro. Drawing cards is good. They're going to Brainstorm in response. This is fine. If this resolves, we have to put a land into play and cast the Recruiter as well. But that said, I don't even know if we want to cast the Recruiter. We drew an Ice Fang, so that's pretty good. I'm going to crack a Misty, grab a Trop, and play a Noble Hierarch. Just so we have like 1,000,000 mana, and then we can flash in an Ice Fang when we need to. It doesn't have Death Touch right now, because I don't have enough snow-covered basics. I could have attacked for 1, but I'd rather cast an Ice Fang coatl and draw more cards. Our opponent does have like 1,000,000 cards in hand, but on the upside we have like 1,000,000 cards in play. I guess our plan now is to put Yorion into our hand and flicker our Abundant Growths and our Ice Fang coatl for card draw, forcing them to interact with that, which will allow us to go down the Aluren route with the Recruiter later down the line. We kind of need a force and a blue card to protect ourselves. They're going to counter our Ice Fang from the looks of things. So they're just going to cast an Endurance and blow up an Abundant. No, shuffle our Graveyard back in, sorry, it's the other one. Keep thinking this is a Rex Sage, look at everyone expected it to be, and it's actually Graveyard Interaction. We lose our Uro, which is something, I guess. We drew a Vista. We've got a Force of Will now, we just need a blue card, really. So I'm going to go for the Yorion line here just to try and force it out of their hand. Because if they do use Force here, that's 2 cards for 1. And then we can just slam Aluren next turn. Hopefully if we draw a blue card and we'll be all good. Yeah, there's the Force. Actually, we're 1 land off being able to hard cast Force of Will alongside Aluren. That seems pretty strong. They play their own Uro. So we want to draw any source, honestly. A blue card or any land. We get attacked. This is fine. Okay, we drew a Plowshares, which is not what we wanted. Which means I can't really do a whole lot here. I can't risk them having a second copy of Force of Will or Force of Negation, or even in this case with a blue source here. I can't think of another count, maybe even a Spell Pierce, I guess, but we can pay through Spell Pierce. We're just going to wait it out for another turn. Now, the problem is if they cast a Teferi, our Force doesn't do anything, so I'm willing to fire off a Force at a Teferi here if they play one. It's not guaranteed they're playing Teferi, but they've got to have a third colour that isn't blue-green. Maybe it's black, or this might be a splash. They're going to cast the Uro from their bin, and we're going to say, okay. Could have forced it, but I'd rather hold the Force for their Force. I'm going to trade my Ice Fang in for their Endurance. And then I'm just going to Plowshares the Uro now to get it out of the way. We hit another land, so we're there. Let's make sure we got a fetchable source. We should do. We're going to cast Aluren here. It resolves. I'm going to cast Recruiter with Aluren. We're going to just chain Recruiters here. So we're going to go Recruiter, 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 Merfolk, Bounce, Recruiter, Recruiter. Oh, they've cast a Calling Oracle in response, sure. They revealed an Ice Fang on top of their library. So maybe they play the Ice Fang now to try and draw a counterspell. So they got a Force and they pitched a Ice Fang to it. We're going to force their Force. Recruiter resolves. We're going to say yes, and we're going to grab, well, another Recruiter. And then we're going to cast that Recruiter. That resolves. We're going to grab another Recruiter. We're then going to cast this Recruiter. And I think we get the Merfolk now to bounce a Recruiter back to hand. I could easily fuck this up, by the way. I'm not an expert on this deck at all. So Merfolk allows us to bounce a Recruiter back to hand, where the other one doesn't. So we're going to cast with Aluren and return a creature to our owner's hand as kicker, returning a Recruiter. Then going to cast a Recruiter of the Guard. Okay, and then to explain the rest of the sequence, because our opponent has scooped it up. The Recruiter ETBs, we go and grab the other one. What the fuck's it called? Cavern Harpy, blue-black, 2/1. And that's got an activated ability that can return the Merfolk to hand. Then we use the Merfolk to play again to kick back the Recruiter to hand, which we then play. Go get Okima, play Okima, and then with the Ice Fang, with the Harpy plus the Aluren, we can Okima indefinitely. And to reveal our Pokemon, we've got Ponder, can't lose. We've also got multiple shuffles with Ponder, the Fetch Land, and the Green Sun to go get us a dork. Ponder from our opponent. What they're actually doing with it, who cares? Better players than I could figure out what matters. I'm just like, yeah. You cast the 3-ball spell. We're going to Ponder. We draw Force of Will off of it, knowing we've got a Fetch Land and land on top. We'll shuffle away one of those lands and take the Fetch Land so we can hit our 4 land drops for certain in case they kill our mana dork that we get off Green Suns. So Coatl mana up from our opponent. Play a Misty and crack a Misty. We're going to grab a Savannah so we've got a source of white mana if we need it. And I'm going to cast Green Suns for 1. Let's get ourselves a Noble Hierarch for now. There's a possibility that it's better to go get Ice Fang Coatl so that way we have some, well, it draws the card itself. But then also if we were to Yorion we can draw another card. They didn't Ice Fang Coatl. They've played a Grist. Okay. I don't know how much I care about this. I've played against it a little bit. I've played against it in Modern in one of the company decks. How good is it here against the Aluren, honestly? Made them an insect and it ditched them an Abrupt Decay. If we draw a Recruiter, we can just go for it. We drew a Kima. We don't really want to just cast out Raw Dog, you know? We're going to attack Grist for 1 here. The ultimate is each opponent loses life equal to the number of creature cards in your graveyard. That's not even that scary. We can't just let it tick up indefinitely, or, you know? So we're going to do that and pass the turn. I think playing Okima would be wrong. All we'd have is a 2/2, and then it gets Abrupt Decay and we've lost like our combo. I do wonder if the 80-card Yorion version of this deck should play at least like 1 Cavern Harpy or a second copy of Okima. Patience is a virtue. All we need to do is draw a Recruiter, and our Brainstorms and our Ponders can help with that as well. They make another insect, Mill and Island. We can't attack with Exalted through 2 insects now. They double block and kill my Hierarch. We probably should have put Yorion into our hand, honestly. I didn't really think about that. That would have involved cracking our Windswept Heath so we couldn't hold it up. They're Living Wishing. Are they just us? They are us. That is interesting. Now, we got Plowshares to interact with this, and we got Force as well, so we should be okay. So at the moment, if we play an Aluren, they get to just combo off with Acererak. That is interesting. We're going to Brainstorm, and then we're going to put Yorion in our hand, I think, and then hold up Plowshares. Our Brainstorm allowed us to put back the win condition plus a land and keep this gas. There's an Uro from our opponent. I guess our best draw would be a Teferi, because that would stop our opponent from being able to Aluren in our turn. They make another insect, getting rid of an Abrupt Decay. They can cast the Uro next turn. It's 5, isn't it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They can indeed. And they're now slapping us. We're going to play a Heath. We're going to play a Snake to see if we can find a Brainstorm or similar. Found another land. We can attack Grist for 1 here, maybe kill an insect. They're going to cast Uro. Do we force this? Do we care? We've got Plowshares, but we kind of need it for the Acererak. I'm going to force this ditching Cavern Harpy, which seems bad because it undoes some of our combo. So our combo kill now is going to be Acererak. They make another insect off the Grist. And they obviously get in because we ain't blocking no insects with our Ice Fang Coatl. I'm going to crack this fetch here because we've got 1 in hand for Brainstorm anyway. And I just want to draw less lands at this point. I'm going to grab our Bayou. We drew another land. We're going to play the Misty and attack the Grist for 1. Or for 2 in the air, should I say. And then I'm going to slam a Yorion. It gives us a blocker. It flickers our Ice Fang. We get to keep enough mana up so that we can cast an Ice Fang if we draw one. And we've got access to Plowshares here too. Probably shouldn't have left the white mana on my Noble though, because that's an easy thing for them to counter. And they counter our Yorion pitching an Ice Fang. Okay. Reasonable. The problem we've got with Plowshares to stop an Acererak is that if they have one of the bouncy creatures in hand, they can save the Acererak from the Swords to Plowshares. So we kind of need to have the Force as well. So we're looking for a Recruiter plus a blue spell. This is a lot of insects and they're going to kill us, unfortunately. We go to 7 here. Go to 6 by cracking my Rainforest. Okay, we drew a Teferi, which is definitely something. We're going to play a Teferi. Now, if we draw a Recruiter off of this, we're loving life. It looks like they've got another Force of Will, which is very unfortunate for us. Yeah, okay. Not a lot we can do about that. Play the Strand. Keep an Ice Fang back for blocks. So they're going to cast another Uro. I had no idea they had enough in the bin for that, but what can I do? I guess I can counter this, but that takes us to 5 life. We're going to counter this because we can't block it next turn anyway, so we have to stop it from resolving. So we counter the Uro, which just feels dreadful. Countering Uros never feels good, and the Plowshares would be a good answer to it if it weren't for the fact there's an Acererak. Grist enabling the Uro is pretty strong. They attack for 5 here, we block 1, go to 4, and then hope we draw the Recruiter, and hope they don't have a way to bounce the thing that we target with the Plowshare. And even then we don't necessarily win, because we've pitched part of the combo to Force of Will. We drew an Ice Fang. So in order to not lose here, we're going to have to cast Aluren so the Ice Fang is free, and they had another Force of Will anyway, so we're gonna just die, I think, but we'll cast an Ice Fang in response and see what we get. Now, we're dead. Them having multiple forces was pretty rough, but I mean, that's just going to happen over a long enough game. Okay, we got Teferi, we got cards that make mana and draw cards, and that's a lot of mana from the Carpet of Flowers. I could really... Oh, my goodness. Is that any good? Do you know what? Maybe it is, if we can shuffle them away with the Brainstorm in our... I don't know why I've kept this. What's the chance of us finding a Brainstorm now? Who knows? Who knows? Let's go Windswept Heath. We're going to crack it. We're going to go ahead and get a Tropical Island. I'm going to draw a card off as Abundant Growth. Carpet Flowers would mean that they might fetch into non-islands. So I'd like them to at least get 1 island, so these are mana neutral. Ponder next turn plus the Carpet Flowers seems pretty decent. Would have preferred a Brainstorm though. They didn't crack their fetch, so no Ponder, no Ponder turn 1. We're going to go Ponder. We're going to find no Brainstorms. We're going to find Living Wish though. I guess. I'm going to put any order and just shuffle my library and draw a Heath. And then we're going to go Heath into a Carpet of Flowers. Now, I really want to hit a Brainstorm at some point. That'd be lovely. On the upside, we do get to play Teferi ahead of them getting to turn 3, which means that their lower end can't be instant speed. And it means that we can play without having to worry about counter magic, but that's not that great. This hand was bad. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. Yep, fetching non-islands. There we go. That's the problem with Carpet Flowers preemptively. Maybe they have an Abrupt Decay for the Carpet and then we just play another Carpet. That'd be pretty hot. We drew an Acererak. I'm just going to Teferi my own Abundant Growth, and then if they... Well, they can't Abrupt Decay in response, can they? They can Abrupt Decay it with Teferi on the stack. Here comes the Teferi. They're going to counter this if they can, or play a Coatl. There's the Coatl. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to pray they have Decay. I'm going to uptick my Raveler, so next turn we can just go Aluren into Acererak if they don't have a way to deal with Teferi. I'm going to make a green mana here. I'll just play a Carpet. So fingers crossed they don't have Pulse, Decay, Trophy, or anything of that ilk. Or, heaven forbid, they just combo kill me. That would also be pretty shit. 1 damage at me, not the Teferi, is interesting. I think there's going to be a Decay in their second main, which is going to be very sad. Maybe this is a Grist, sack the Ice Fang, kill the Teferi. Maybe that's what this is. I think that's what this is, yeah. Really is a shame. This means they must have Force of Will in hand, surely. We're going to Green Suns for an Uro then, at this point. And then I guess I'm just going to Brainstorm in there to put this Carpet Flowers back. And hopefully find some sort of shuffle effect, like a fetch land, or the Green Suns we just shuffled in. Then make a 1/1 off Grist. They're Living Wish for their own Acererak at this point, I think. Oh, Endurance. They're going to shuffle the Uro back in. Okay. They don't think they can beat this Uro. Pitch an Abrupt Decay to the Endurance to shuffle my Uro back in. The shuffle trigger on the stack, I would like to respond and Brainstorm, please. At least they gave us a shuffle. At least they gave us a shuffle. Living Wish. So we're going to put Carpet Flowers back, and we're going to put... We drew the Living Wish we put back in spite of the shuffle. Interesting. So let's play a Teferi. They're going to respond by cracking their Prismatic Vista. Come on, they can't have the counter magic every time. Surely they do have something. Is it going to be a... It's going to be a Coatl. And Fairy resolves. Now they have 2 bodies, so they're going to be able to Grist me. I was hoping to bounce this, draw a card, and love life. Whilst they're tapped out, I guess I'll Acererak. That does give them some information, but it does give us something. Trigger the Acererak. It goes back to hand, and we're not going to go anywhere near the Tomb of Annihilation. We're just going to scry 1. Put that Carpet of Flowers on the bottom of our library. Oh, I didn't use my Teferi. Should have uptick. There's an excuse for really just waiting a turn and seeing if we could Carpet of Flowers and... Use Carpet Flowers to Teferi and use Aluren. Yeah, they got a Decay anyway, so yeah. Living Wish for Acererak. In for 2. We're going to be living ending for our own Uro here, I think. We can Acererak in response to their combo, I guess. So we're going to Living Wish. grab an Uro, play the Uro, play this stuff, crack a Misty, get a Tundra, and then just play Acererak for the Goblin or the Treasure. Pass back to our opponent, who can just grist our Uro to death. I think we're being outplayed pretty heavily here by someone who knows what they're doing, potentially, although they're not really casting many ponders or brainstorms, so I don't know how many decision tree moments there's been. Getting the endurance to get rid of the Uro was pretty strong, and here's a brainstorm, just to make me shut up, I guess. Voting from my opponent, 4 cards in hand, one of which is Acererak. I think it's Acererak. Acererak. I'm definitely pronouncing it incorrectly, and I've only just realised. Or it isn't. It's only occurred to me this video, so there's probably somebody very angry in the comments, and I just don't give a fuck. So I guess I'm going to play Acererak to try and get myself a card draw. Yeah, we need to get something into the bin. So we need to draw some cards to put into the bin. Let's go Dark Pools, ping them for 1, gain 1. Then play Acererak again. This draws us a card. We draw a Windswept Heath. Almost. We're going to crack the Windswept Heath to put it in the bin. Grab a Bayou and put Yorion in our hand. And then just cast an Acererak again. 3-mana Venture. Not the most exciting thing in the world. We don't want to go to the Tomb of Annihilation, so that'll mess everything up. So we'll go to the Dungeon of the Mad Mage this time. Gain a life. This one takes a lot longer to complete, but has a much bigger payoff. But I mean, is that even a thing here, honestly? They've got another snake. So if they go for it with Acererak, we can go for it as well ahead of them with their trigger on the stack and just go off and off and off. So they can't go when we've got Acererak in our hand. Unless they have Force of Will, Abrupt Decay, Path to Exile, Swords to Plowshares, or any other instant speed interaction. They have a Caracas to mess with our one. Aye. We untap and we draw a Misty Rainforest, which is good for the Uro. The Caracas makes it a bit awkward. I'm going to say yes to this and make some green and some blue. I'll make a Yorion. I'm going to go black, blue, and green, make an Acererak. And we get to scry 1. Put that on the bottom. Jeez, and then play one more Acererak. Do they have counter magic? They do have Force of Will. Okay. It's not unusual for our opponent to have Force of Will if you haven't noticed. So if they have Aluren now, we are just dead. They're going to kill Yorion by sacking a body. Makes sense. We need a Force of Will to be able to just go. Force of Will and a Recruiter to be able to go anywhere with all this. Cast our Uro, which isn't great into the Caracas, but will keep us alive for one more turn with the life gain. Unless they have another Force, that is. They do. They actually do. Okay, well, GG then, because they have 6 attackers. We can make some blockers, I guess. It's pretty unfortunate and quite frustrating that they've been able to counter. Well, I guess we did counter 2 Uros last turn. I feel like they had a lot of counters magic, though. I'm now talking and not doing my mana correctly. I guess if we got a Recruiter, we could have gone for it with this in hand to see if they try to interrupt with the Acererak at the point where we could flash this in and stuff. But now he's played it out. That avenue of our opponent just making a mistake is not there either. Okay, they've drawn their second cantrip of the game, but it hasn't really mattered. Because they've had like a lot of interaction where we've had, well, a lot of lands. Maybe it's just the nature of playing the Yorion variant. I've never been a big fan of the Yorion variant of decks like even D&T and stuff, because you don't draw your 4-ofs as much as you want to in the case of this deck Aluren or in the case of D&T and Aether Vial. I think the problem was with this game, if we look back on it realistically, is that I kept a hand with triple Carpet Flowers, which is absolutely ridiculous. I don't know why I did that. I feel like we had the tools in our deck to, you know, oh, they just bounced off Chemo, which gains us life. That's nice for the clock. We had the tools in this game to win, but we just didn't have them because our opening hand was so bad. And we can't rely on Brainstorm or similar to fix the Carpet Flowers problem in our opening hand because, well, I just said we're a Yorion deck, right? The chance of us actually drawing our Brainstorms are very, very low. We cast Brainstorm, we just drew, transforming our hand a little bit. I'm going to crack our Prismatic Vista, cast an Ice Fang Coatl, and just see what we find. A Ponder. Okay, this is a turn of a lot of action. Oh dear, any order, shuffle my library, don't draw the bird. We drew the birds that was on top. There is a theory that there is a bug. It does feel like there was a bug, doesn't it? Cool, just cast this bird. I guess we can cast the Endurance now as well. Shuffle with that Uro. And then die. because we have 4 blockers and they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 attackers, and we're on 2. GG opponent. So that concludes this match. This is gonna be a quickie just with 1 game for this video because my throat is killing me. I think this deck is very, very cool. It seems like it's got a lot of play and a lot of decision tree moments, and I definitely made numerous mistakes. Our opponent having multiple Force of Wills that I've bemoaned a little bit doesn't really... That's not really a valid complaint because they play multiple Force of Wills, so they can draw multiple Force of Wills and cantrips to get them there as well. So we can't really point our finger at that and blame that. And I had double Force in one of the games too, to good effect. So we can't moan about that. I think we probably could have won this game, or actually had a chance at winning this game, should I say, if I had not kept an incredibly piss-poor hand at the beginning. They're going to kill one of our bodies and get in for 2 here. Yeah. So well played, opponent. I wonder if they are more well versed in this deck than we are. This was not planned, by the way. I was sat down to play a couple of games of this deck, see how my throat was, and then just put out the best game in terms of showcasing the deck. And I think this is actually, weirdly, the best game for that. It's the first one I sat down to do because we paired into the mirror, but they're playing Acererak as well. We didn't get a combo off with Acererak here. Okay, so the deck was fun enough for me to play some more rounds with it. And we went play against elves. Our first game we just comboed off, and there's not much they could do about it. So we actually have the Acererak combo here, so I want to fit this in as well before I go to the outro that I've already recorded. So we're just going to cast Aluren. Now, if they have a Reclamation City, they can blow up the Aluren, but we have a Cavern Harpy to save it here. We have like almost the perfect hand. So we're going to cast Acererak. He's going to go back to hand. And then we're going to enter the Mines of Phandelver. We've got Swords to Plowshares. We're now going to cast Cavern Harpy to save our Acererak. And then with the trigger on the side, we're going to hold priority. We're going to pay 1 life to put Cavern Harpy back in our hand, so we can save it again if we have to. Resolve this, putting Acererak back in our hand. No Plowshares for you, my friend. And then we just start adventuring in the Forgotten Realms, which is going to be the Lost Mines of Phandelver. And they've scooped it up. Yeah, this deck is fun. This deck is fucking cool, having all these tricksy stuff. I mean, I'm glad we got to also show off Cavern Harpy saving Acererak against Swords to Plowshares as well. Anyway, back to the outro. You saw that we both had it as a threat, and you saw the actual combo in the first game. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. Smash that like button, don't forget to subscribe as well, all that jazz. If you enjoyed the gameplay videos, please do try and watch the ones in future. I keep getting told in my comments that people want to see more gameplay, and I put them out, and they just don't do as well as other videos. So if you do enjoy the gameplay, try and catch it when you can. I've been Vince, also known as PleasantKenobi on the internet. Be good to one another. I'm going to go rest my voice. I'll see you all soon. Ta-ta for now.